Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild. All his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fucale. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack. In today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, good friend of the show, and a very familiar guest on the show, Zach Fucale. Zach was previously on episode 19 and episode 75. Zach spent this season in all three leagues, in the ECHL with the South Carolina Stingrays, the American Hockey League with the Hershey Bears, and was part of the NHL taxi squad for a bit with the Washington Capitals. So I'm really excited to get you on for a third time, Zach. So welcome back to the show, Zach Fucale.
What's going on, Jack? Everything's good with you?
Yeah, everything's going great with me. Been pretty busy, but other than that, just cruising through the summer, training, everything. How's summer for you going?
Summer's gone great. Not too much to report. Anything new? I mean, for me personally, training hard, getting ready for next season, ramping up the ice sessions in the next month or so, and no, everything's going well. I mean, in the last couple of days, it's been pretty rock and roll in the NHL. A lot of signings, lots of trades. I feel like there's been much more activity than usual at free agency this year. Pretty wild stuff. VTech getting claimed. Now he's traded back. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of buyouts. Pretty wild time in the NHL.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what are your thoughts on everything going on with the NHL and like all like the goalie signings that's been signed and just everything? Like, there's been some crazy signings this season so far.
Yeah, and look, I'm not an expert on all this economic stuff, but I think the flat cap, the fact that the salary cap's not moving at all, it makes a huge difference. And even 2 million, 3 million would make an incredible difference for each club. If you add that up, that's almost 1 or 2 players per club that they can sign, even at 2-3 million. And now guys are struggling. So they're by guys are struggling. I mean, like the GMs are struggling to find that balance. So there was so many buyouts and stuff. Like you saw it, like me. I was surprised at a lot of stuff. It's just the reality of the league right now. The salaries and the cap and all that. It's a big money stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The last few days, I've been like, holy smokes, like everyone's signing somewhere, and it's gonna be a ton of like new goalies and new places, new players,
Yep.
new places. It's gonna be
Yep.
an interesting season for sure to see
I'll
how.
tell you what, the artists for the paint jobs for the helmets, they're gonna make a lot of money this year with all the guys changing addresses.
More sick masks to come out and more money for them. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
both rows there.
It's not a negative thing. It's just it'll be great to see all the new gear and stuff. So that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get into, first of all, like 2021 season. Like it was wild. Like the COVID season. It's like you spent time in all three in the coast, the AHL, and time in the NHL as well. So like, how crazy was this year for you, and just everything that you had to face with
Like
adversity, with COVID, and everything like that?
yeah, a lot of adversity, a lot of uncertainty. You know, in even at the beginning of the season, I accepted to go to the ECHL at the beginning because we didn't even know if there was going to be a season anywhere. So at the end of the day, they offered. I said, "Yeah, well, if you're giving me the chance to play, I'm definitely going to accept that." And so I got one game in before training camp, and everything ended up going pretty smoothly during the season. It was just strange because there were never really days off. You always had to go to the rink to get tested. These were this was just a reality of the season. It was just strange because sometimes you don't get that mental reset of just, okay, well, you're not going to the rink at all for a day or two, but you always had to go back. Another thing that was really weird was you just played three teams the whole time, right? I mean, we played against Wilkes, Bingo, and Lehigh over and over and over. So that's kind of that's not what we kind of love. That's not why we love the game, to just play the same teams all the time, to travel and stuff like that. Go around the league and test yourself against everyone in the league. But hey, look, that was the reality of what we had to go through this season. But it went well, you know. Hershey, we got a strong club, good coaching staff. I got along real good with the goalie coaches, and we got some really good work. And so, like you were saying, I spent some times in all three leagues. I learned a lot. But hey, it was a good season for me, and now I'm excited to get that full length schedule, traveling, and get a lot more games than just 10 this year. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and you do it for the love of the game. Like, you just love the game, even though you're playing the same teams over and over. Like, you're playing the game during a weird time. Like, that's all that really matters, especially when some people don't even have jobs.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we were lucky to even have a season, and if they offer, we'll play, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So like, what were those games like when you're playing Bingo, Wilkes-Barre, and Lehigh, and like just playing them over and over, and like it must be tough, but like you guys get like good competition because you guys play each other so often.
Yeah, yeah, the rivalry grows because no choice, right? You get tired of each other, and then you just get mad at each other, and that's how you get rivalries. But hey, no, to answer your question, it was hard at the beginning to find, because at the end of the day, it has to come from inside you. You need to find yourself a challenge, and there's nobody in the stands at the beginning, so
Yeah.
you got to think of it that way. What are you challenging yourself with to elevate your game? Because it's easy to get ready for a game where there's 10,000 people out there, and it's game 7, or those games are easy. You know, when it's like for first place, or those games are easy to get ready. They're not easy. They're easy to get up for.
Yeah.
But when it's a Tuesday night, there's nobody there. You just play the same team for the fourth time in a row, and it's mid-January. It's freezing outside. Sometimes you need to find an inner challenge to get to the rink and kind of elevate your game. And that was the challenge this year because there's not many fans. So I did learn about that, about myself, about what I need to get myself at that level. And some, I bet you for some it was new. It was a new thing that they had to look deep and find a challenge for those types of games. But we had a good staff that helped us get ready no matter what the situation was, and we kind of set the standard and the bar real high, so that kept us on our game.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what do you do to help elevate your game, especially when you don't have any fans in the building? Just like the energy isn't there that it usually would be there.
So for me, I even if there's people, I want to eliminate that type of distraction. So I don't even want to think about how many people are in the stands, because at the end of the day, they're irrelevant. So whether they're there or not, for the game being played, it's irrelevant who and what is watching me. I have a job to do. So what I did was I just like double, triple down on my my focus of what I have to do right now in the moment, right? And that really eliminated the fact that I kind of just took away the power of the crowd because there was none. So it was the way I did it, where I just tripled down on, hey, what do I have to do right now? Because nothing else is really relevant. There's no external factors that will help me, so I better just bring them from inside, and that's what I did. So I just really focused on my system, how I play the game, and keep two, three things of repeating those things. That really helped me during the season.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's all within yourself and like everything that like you do is like in the moment. Like as a goalie, like you have to be in the moment every single time. And if you're not, like you're gonna get lit up or you're not gonna be ready for the next shot
Yeah.
when it comes.
Exactly. Exactly. It's honestly, it's a big self-awareness game. You got to be aware of where you're at, and if you're in the wrong place mentally or physically, you got to bring yourself to where you're going to be kind of physically sharp or mentally sharp. So you got to know yourself. You got to know how to get to where you need to be physically, mentally, and no matter the external factors we were talking about, like the crowd, the noise, people around you, the schedule, who you're playing, what day of the week it is, all these things are external factors. They're really irrelevant to your performance. So what you have to do is focus on the things that are relevant. And for me, I found 2 to 3 things that I really abide to, and I make them my rules, and I just stick to that, and I just do it over and over again, and that just what gets me to my spot, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And just like you're doing whatever you can to stay in the moment, like with your game, and then just everything like the external factors doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
And then
Yeah.
and then you just worry about stopping the puck and giving your team the best chance to win.
That's it. Couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it.
Yeah, so then you go on to get some time with the taxi squad with the Washington Capitals. Like, what was that experience like, and just being at the NHL level and just practicing with all these guys?
That's great. I mean, I did have limited like practice time with the actual team, since the Vitek and Sammy and even Craig Anderson needed to get their reps in. So I didn't like just practice with the team all the time. That's not really how the taxi squad worked. But I did get to go out there and work with Scotty Murray, the goalie coach, a lot. And I got to work, with the other taxi squad members. We got our reps in, and it was great to learn from Scotty every day, and go to the games and watch what the NHL kind of schedules like, and all of that, the mindset, and what you need to do to be successful up there. So I did have a close eye on that, and kind of when my chance is going to come, it's going to help me be ready for that, and that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, what exactly do you do on the taxi squad? Because I know a lot of people think you practice with the team, but you practice with like the guys that are also on the taxi squad. So, like,
Yeah, so for me it
what is
was
it like?
particular. Yeah, it was particular because as a goalie, if I'll give you, if there was a lot of games, if there were a lot of games, VTech wouldn't take all of practice. So sometimes Scotty would say, "Hey, look, like come on the ice," but if VTech wants the reps, just stay in the corner. If not, well, he'll just give you what he doesn't need or doesn't want. So some practice I would get some shots, maybe 2 or 3, and then some I would just stand in the corner all practice, just because that's what he needed to play. So this kind of sucked, but in the end, I would always just grab the scraps after practice. The running joke with the taxi squad was that my warm up was basically breakaways from the players after practice. That was my warm up. When the practice finished, I would just jump on and grab a bunch of breakaways before the taxi squad practice, post practice,
Yeah,
and yeah, so that's it. Generally, how it worked was the team would have their skate, and the taxi squad would come on the last 5 to 10 minutes in the neutral zone. Let's say they're doing power play or something like that. We'll just skate in the neutral zone, and then once they get off the ice, we just have our little practice, 30 minutes, 40 minutes max, and play a little game, and get out of there. So that's how it worked.
yeah. At least you got to take shots whenever you can. You just got to take advantage of that, especially when you get that limited practice time with the actual team.
Right.
Just you're willing to get in there whenever you can to at least stop some shots.
Yeah, I mean, basically I was just going in there grabbing the scraps, and post practice guys would like to do their one timers, and they thought I was a little bit crazy to get in there, but hey, those were all the shots that I could get from the NHL guys. So I just hopped in. I just had to bite the bullet.
Yeah, you'll take anything you can.
Except Ovi, he never let the goalies go in the net when he takes the one timers.
Yeah, that's funny. So then, so like, what would you do when you guys go on the road? Would you go on the road as well, or would you just
Yeah.
stay back in
Yeah,
Washington?
because how it worked was the taxi squad goalie had to always be there. The taxi squad traveled with the team this year because, especially for the goalies I'm talking about, because they needed an emergency backup everywhere you go. So there were no Zamboni drivers being emergency backup this season because NHL clubs had an extra goalie available all the time. So that was kind of my job for a while. Yeah.
So you just sit in the press box and just enjoy the game.
Yeah, enjoy the game, watch it, and then go home and do it all again the next day.
Hey, at least you got to visit some places and just go travel with the team, especially at the NHL level.
Yep.
So then, so like, what were some of the things and challenges that you faced during your time on the taxi squad that you learned from, especially at the NHL level?
Well, the challenge when I was on the taxi squad was you don't get as many shots as you're used to when you're doing full practices with, like 18, 20, 22 skaters. You know what I mean? You don't get as many reps. And sometimes they're even harder reps because we're on for 30 minutes. There's three forwards and one D on the ice, and you're doing a bunch of 2-on-1s. And sometimes they're harder practices just because you don't get the normal flow of flow drills, and then sometimes they do a neutral zone forecheck. You know what I mean? Like as a goalie, sometimes you have a little break in those drills where they're less goalie specific and stuff. But when you're on the taxi squad, everything really finished at the net because there's only four guys on the ice. So it was pretty challenging that way, where you're not getting tons of volume, but you're getting some hard reps all the time. And yeah, I got to talk a lot and hang out with two pretty great goalies. I mean, Felix Copley and Craig Anderson. Craig Anderson, I mean, speaks for itself. He's has so much experience in the game, and he just re-signed in Buffalo, which is great. So I'm happy to hear that. I got to spend a lot in pickup game too, since he's one of the dying breed of the stand-up goalies. He was trying to kind of guide us through that too. So we had a lot of fun though. I had a good time learning with Krager, and that's it, man.
That's awesome. You're able to learn from anyone out there, especially like guys that have been in the league for a long time. Like it's just cool to sit back and just watch them do what they do and take
Yeah.
notes from what they're doing and just try to have it go into your game a little bit and like take that experience that they have.
Yeah, not too much, right? Like you want to keep your own little
Yeah.
system, yours, and what works for him might not work for me.
Uh,
And I guarantee you that some things that work for him, they don't work for me because I tried them. So, so no, it's interesting that you say that you can learn from others, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% beneficial to your game. So, I always say that you need to really be careful at continually adding things to your game, because it doesn't mean that because you added, somebody else had success with it, that you're gonna just add it to your game and all of a sudden boom, you're gonna make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more saves per season because of that. So just be real careful with that. And I learned from experience because I used to be the guy that just added whatever and watched the guy and did it the very next day, and a goalie coach says something and boom, I apply it all the time. But that at the end of the day, you need to stay true to your core values as a goalie and your core kind of go-to bread and butter, if I can say. And but I did have fun trying some of Andy's tactics, but I wouldn't say that I would apply them in games, just because he had maybe 15 more years experience using it than me, just in a few practices.
yeah, that makes sense. And just there's some things that you can take away, but you shouldn't apply everything that you have
Yeah,
from
exactly. There's just too much. There's
yeah.
just too much stuff. The most valuable things that you can do sometimes is not doing something. It's not always about what you do all the time. Sometimes it's about what you don't do and what you eliminate, and what you, like we were talking about earlier, how you have to eliminate distractions and focus on what's really relevant, and whatever is irrelevant, just really forget about it. But it's the same concept with how you actually play the game. You can't focus on everything. You can't focus on your glove, your blocker, your stick, your how you position yourself, your RVH all at once. You just have to do one thing, and whatever doesn't work for you, just eliminate that. Just stop thinking about it. Just focus on what gives you the results, the bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. And that reminds me, like when there'd be fans in the stands, like my friends would show up, like I'd get distracted a little bit, but then like I'd realize that'd be really bad for my game. But then once I
Yeah.
stopped, like caring about like the distractions and the fans, like just focus on stopping the puck and focusing on my game, like your game just speaks for itself after that.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. And it's happened to all of us where you see somebody in the stands and all of a sudden that's in your mind and it just grows and it grows. And the more you think about it, the more you don't want to think about it, the more it grows in your mind. But at the end of the day, you have to, well, it's a trial and error thing because you learn about how to deal with that. We've all had that happen. If there's a goalie that said that's never happened to them, that's probably a liar. But hey, over time you realize what's really important and where you want to put your energy, like your mental energy, where you're putting that is super important. So I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to bring this back to the AHL really quick before we move on to the next topic. So, like, AHL didn't have playoffs this year. Only like one division, the Pacific Division, had like a playoff type championship thing. So,
Yeah.
like, how was it hard to stay motivated at all, or were you just focused on just playing games at that point, especially during this season, just not worrying about going to the playoffs, especially since there was no playoffs?
Yeah, since we knew there wasn't playoffs and we were sitting close to the top of the standings, our goal was to basically finish first. You need to find a challenge, and I think that's Carbs. Carbs, our coach, kind of instilled that kind of early. Where like we lost a game or two, and we're like, hey, like you guys realize we're falling in the standings, and that's that was our little motivator. That like, hey, we might as well focus on finishing or like focus on winning as many games and finishing first in our division first, and then go to the conference and finish top of the conference. And guess what? We finished top in the league, by maybe a point or two with the Rocket, right? So it was really close. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a challenge, where do you set the bar? And that could be a slippery slope where, oh, you let that slide, and next thing you know, you're an unmotivated group that doesn't know where it's going just because there's no playoffs. But in this case, I think our coaches set us straight and they set the bar high and the standards were elevated, and that's what kind of put us in the right spot to perform.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So then going into this season,
Oh, did I lose you? Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you, but it cut a little bit, but I
Oh,
think
yeah,
we're good now.
yeah. So, you re-signed a extension with the Washington Capitals for this season. So, like, what are some of your expectations going in the next season? Like, how is summer training treating you?
Summer training is going really well. Training hard, and there's about 6 more weeks before it all starts. So it's great for me. My expectations um, are very. They're not focused on like what I expect from the team, but more what I expect from me.
Yeah,
And that's what's important in my opinion to get ready for these things. Like you have to set your standards high and write down your what you want to accomplish, right? So if I just go in there with no direction, no goals, no like milestones I want to accomplish, well, I'm gonna have a hard time motivating myself. So or just keeping my that fire inside. So for me, it's really just setting the bar high, doing the things on the daily to get there, and just trusting that I'll be ready when the time comes. And I just got to trust myself, and that's what I expect for myself is just focus on my system, trust my how I play the game, and set the standard high for myself.
yeah, exactly. You just gotta trust yourself, trust your game. Like your biggest believer is yourself. Like you just have to do everything you can to believe in yourself, and just if you believe in yourself, like your game's just gonna speak for itself.
Exactly. And I do believe that that shows when you're out there, when you have that confidence, that belief in yourself, in your system and how you play, it shows out there. People can tell.
Yeah, exactly. So you said earlier that you just started skating quite a bit. So like, how long do you usually take off after a season, or does it just depend on like how you're feeling and how the body is?
Yeah, it depends. It depends when how you feeling and when the season ended and how much time you have left to get ready, right? Like let's say you have like last year, we had an 8 month off season because of the pandemic. You don't go on for 7 months, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. That's not very realistic. You're not going to accomplish more by doing that, you know? So this off season was about between 3 and 4 months. So I took a good month off where I was out in the woods with my dog, my girlfriend, just in a little cottage. Just took some time by myself. Did a little bit of training, but nothing too nuts. Just recharge the batteries more mentally. Do what I love to do, be outside. And once I got back into training, I took about 2 3 weeks of just training. Getting more flexible, getting back into it, because once you take a month off, it's hard to get back into it hard. So took a couple weeks, and then I started doing 2 times a week practice, and then I added a little scrimmage. We have a pro league in the Montreal area that I help run, and all pros we go on the ice, play 3-on-3 on Fridays. Now that it's going to start next week, so again, like I said, we're ramping it up. Next week we're adding a 5-on-5 full game. Basically, it's pretty intense. It's fun times. So I'm starting next week. I'll probably have 1 or 2 scrimmages and some goalie practices sprinkled in there. So my goal is to be like on 3 times a week and sometimes 4. Maybe every second week I'm on 4 times until camp. That's how I like to do it. That's how I have been doing it in the last 3 years, I say, and I feel real good during the season. So that's how I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah, that's great. Whatever works for you. Like you're your own self, so you just got to decide on what feels best for you and how, like, trial and error pretty much.
Exactly.
So then you go into you go into practice a little bit here, and just like, what do you do to start off practice? Like, especially when you first get on the ice, like, you just like work on like gloves and like your tracking, all that. Like, what's some of like your practice routines that you go through?
Yeah. In the summer, I really believe that you just got to get back to fundamentals, and you keep putting more reinforcement in your foundation. Uh, every year is a good chance to reinforce the things that you're really good at, and the more those are strong, the more naturally the more automatic is gonna become during the season. And if you have time, which you don't really, I don't feel like you have to add something every summer to your game. I don't feel like you have to, because we talked about, like, if you get the results and that's what gives you the results. Yes, the game changes, you have to adapt with it. Um, but personally, I feel like I get back to my fundamentals, and then if there's something else on the table that I have to kind of bring to another level, then we work on that as well as a supplement. But the foundations, the fundamentals in the summer is really the key when you're in the pros, in my opinion. And yeah, so when I get on the ice, it's usually I just do some tracking, very simple tracking of the pucks from the stick all the way into my equipment, either my glove, my pads, my blocker. You like feel where the puck is hitting, really feel the trajectory and all these things. I've worked on that with Scotty and Washington and Westy and Hershey, really seeing the trajectory of the puck and feeling that puck all the way through. And I feel like that's really helped my game. The awareness of what's going on around me, but simplicity, man. That's the key in the summer. That little warm up drill. Actually, I think you saw it on the group there, the goalie group. I had put that on there for the community we got going on for the goalies, and it's really simple. But at the end of the day, those are what. If your foundations aren't sharp, how do you expect to go even faster and faster on things that are more complicated? So.
Yeah, exactly. And like I just got back from St. Louis and trained with like Tyler Parks. And like that's one thing we focused on was tracking and just like watching everything in and just keeping it very simple and just watching everything in, like leaning with the head into the glove.
Right.
Like tracking and like leaning into it is like super important, especially like to keep the game simple.
Yeah, the game at the end of the day is it's a game of inches, centimeters, and just shifting into the puck, or you said leaning into the puck, is huge. Is going to cover most of the net, and that's going to give you success in the long term instead of reaching.
Yeah, exactly. So you brought up your goalie community that I'm a part of right now. So like, take us through like the origins of that and like why you began to create that and like everything you wanted people to get out of it.
Yeah, I feel like there's big opportunity right now for all of us to learn from people we trust. And as an athlete, I saw that I could help younger goalies, little guys, little girls that want to get better in as a goalie. And I like to coach in the summer as well. I coach with Olivier Gervais with the Paramount Hockey here in Laval, and I we talked especially this originated from our Living Sisu community where we're trying to make sports more accessible and stuff like that. We had talked about this on the podcast before, Living Sisu and the whole community but behind that. But in terms of goalies, we wanted to create these little sub communities within Living Sisu of in their own process and stuff like that. So for me, I started my little goalie community, and I'm sharing some training videos, some video breakdown of my games, of my practices, of NHL players, my insight on like just training stuff, just little ball work routines that can help your coordination, your stretching, all these things like that. So anything I can do to give access to younger goalies to get better, that's the whole point of the little community we have going on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I love that, and it's a great community. Like I've learned so much. I incorporated that ball drill into my game, like pregame routine, just like with the dribbling. It's a lot
Right.
harder than it looks. Like
It
it's
is, right? And did you hear what I said? I go, I always have a teammate. I said, what are you doing? But I go, okay, you think this is easy? You try it. And he goes, yeah, this will be easy. Next thing you know, they're chasing down the racquetball down the hall just because it seems easy, but it's quite the challenge.
yeah, and it's always you always lose a ball here and there, and then you just keep getting better, better, and better. No matter even the next day, like you try, like you get better, and like the
Yep.
deception and everything gets a lot more manageable than it was the day before.
Yep. 100%. I'm a big believer in those ball drills for coordination.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into Living Sisu a little bit here, like how's everything going at Living Sisu, and just from the last time we talked, like how's everything going? Like you've gotten a lot bigger with that. So like how's that going?
It's going well. We have some projects in the works, like I was telling you about the athlete communities that we're gonna start incorporating into the community in the big picture of Living Sisu. So yeah, we have some events that are coming up for some girls mountain bike, like cross country biking experience with a professional coach, Cindy, that we're working with. We did a high diving kind of day where we pushed our limits there. Like I'm afraid of heights, and so are my partners. We did a little challenge with a professional high diver, Lisanne Richard here in Montreal. We have some golf events coming up and stuff like that. So we're expanding slowly. We're going to be relaunching our app in a little bit. There, we're going to have some updates and stuff like that, which is great. We're really excited about that, and incorporating the athlete communities as well, which is going to help a lot of people. So that's our goal, and it's going to help a lot of athletes connect to kind of like what people that want to learn from them, and that's what we're going to be doing in the future here.
Yeah, it's all about the going just growing slowly. Like you're gonna keep growing
Yeah,
slowly and expanding, and then once everything hits like top speed, like it's gonna be unreal to see where it's going and just everything
absolutely,
gonna happen with it.
absolutely.
So my final topic for today is like you've done some summer adventures so far, like the rucking with like the 30 to 40 pounds,
Right.
like
I
50
forgot about that, but yeah.
like how how was that and like the challenges you faced throughout that ruck?
Yeah, and that's something that we've been trying to do as often as we can, right? And it's uh it's it's part of the Living Sisu kind of how can I say, like the ethos of what we want to do, like the values behind it, be resilient and push your limits, and you're going to hit some adversity, but you want to be able to go through that. And that rucking thing was really like, well, that was one of the hardest things I've done. Our goal was 54. We stopped at about 35 because we wanted to avoid injury. Our goal wasn't to get injured or anything like that. So we had our first experience with some weight on our back. We underestimated how much 30, that's heavy stuff. So we're definitely going to get better. We're going to get stronger. But like you were saying, it's all about just finding little challenges. Like the other day, it was a few hours kayaking. And then we're going to have a golf day that we're going to have a tournament for. That girls camp for mountain biking, the rucks, all these things. We kind of try new things. We have a shootout tournament for hockey this weekend, which is coming up, which is really interesting. Not many people do that. And yeah, we just try and challenge ourselves in different sports and have some fun with it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's all about the little challenges that you come up with throughout all these things, and to the problem solving in you, that you have to solve these problems and try to get through the challenges as quickly and as manageable as you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because we all deal with it in a different way, and it's up to you to find how you're going to deal with it in the moment. A lot of us will want to quit in the first little challenge, but it's about pushing through that. And I think that rucking is one of the good ways to challenge yourself, because it seems simple. Hey, we're just going to go walk, but hey, put 20 pounds on your back and see how long you last. That's a fun challenge to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about the memories you make out of that too, and like
The
just pushing
experience, yep.
through, living the living Sisu way. Like all of that comes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about this before. It's really about the experience, right? It's not just about being there by yourself. If you do all these activities by yourself, you're never going to have as much fun. You're never going to push as hard. You're never going to have the stories involved with it. It's about experiencing that with others. So that's what it's all about for us, and that's what we've been doing.
All about the journey, not the destination.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Zach, this has been a ton of fun. So thank you again so much for coming on for the third time to talk on the show. So I really appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck going the rest of the way with the Capitals and the Bears, wherever you're playing this season, and just everything with life. And hopefully come hang out with you soon, like cook up a steak dinner or something.
I like it. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, Jack. You're doing a great job, and I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. Thank you.